Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, crypto's on sale. Greens all, welcome back. Today we're going to do a little dollar cost averaging. I started a portfolio a week ago over here where I have an investment example, and then what was going to be a bad example, I turned into a gambler example for some altcoins as far as our dollar cost averaging goes into our portfolio, and I am doing this on coinstats.app, where you can set up a fantasy portfolio or your real portfolio. People such as myself and other traders out there, likely we have like a half a dozen different places where we have crypto. You do kind of, even if you're self-custodying and you've got it, maybe you have a ledger or a Trezor, maybe you've got a piece of software wallet, maybe you've got something on your phone. Well, in order to track and see exactly where you're doing on your profits and what's going up and what's going down, it's easiest to use an app like this where you can kind of track things. And what you can also do with this is set up things where if there's things you want to keep an eye on, you can quickly pull it up and see how well they've been doing. Since it piqued your interest, we'll just say. Since it piqued your interest. But first, we want to take a look at crypto being on sale because that's a big deal. So the market's taken a little bit of a dive, not really too much. Bitcoin down 2.7%. That's really kind of nothing. Like I said, I think Bitcoin's going to go sideways for a couple of weeks, if not even a little bit longer. And the altcoins are going to break away and run, go up and go down and kind of do the altcoin thing. But it's going to be at a much higher percentage than anything Bitcoin is going to do. And that's when we look at our dollar cost averaging, we're going to see that as the market goes down, the farther it goes down. Right now, the gambling example for where I put money into was doing quite a bit better than the long-term investment holding of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some bigger players in there. And that's to be expected because with the higher gains, there is also the higher risk. When the market goes down, Bitcoin loses 3 or 4%, altcoins will lose 15. All right. And there goes those gains. So it's just a risk. It's just a risk teeter-totter of what you want to play and what you want to do with your money. Just using something like CoinStats to track that is going to show you exactly, which is probably maybe going to be the best for your particular scenario. There are some people who want to sit and watch the markets every single minute by minute by minute. And maybe you can set up a gambler profile, right? And trade your stuff back and forth, or you can just throw it in Bitcoin and kind of forget about it. I'm more of the throw it into stuff that I figure is going to go up and not play around with it too much, because people don't consider things like trading fees and taxes and things of that nature, where it's like, yeah, it's a lot less headache just to throw stuff in there and kind of set it and forget it. That said, I do some trading as well. Anyways, on Coinbase, because it looks prettier than CoinWatch Live, it's all in the red. It's all in the red, except Terra is up 16%. So you can go get yourself some Luna. All the people who like to run after coins that are breaking out, skyrocketing. I think Luna's up like 200% in the last 90 days or something like that. In the last 90 days, 277%. Yeah, you don't want to get in on that. You're just saying it's kind of run its course for the time being. You may want to let that one cool off, but hey, it's not financial advice. You guys do what you want to do. I look at this market and I go, yay, what do I want to buy? All right, that's how we look at the market. We look at the stuff that's down 5 to 10% that has not taken off yet, as much as it could, right? And let's see what we got. We're going to go over to Live Coin Watch. It's a little bit better information, a little bit easier to read out. So my picks for right now is we're going to do the dollar cost averaging for what I personally would probably put money into if I had money laying around and I'm doing my dollar cost average day. I am going into altcoins because I think Bitcoin's going to trade sideways. It's a good time to throw into Bitcoin if you don't have anything else to do and you want to invest in something. Bitcoin's never a bad time to invest in Bitcoin. However, I have a pretty big bag for that already, and we're going to have some fun with some alts. Maybe make some crazy gains, right? That's what we all hope for, and then roll it into Bitcoin. So what would if I had $100, we'll say, if I had $100, now the market's been up for a while, and some big players in there like Solana, up like crazy, and it's still basically up. It's been floating between up 1%, down 1%. Everything is green except the last 24 hours. And like I said, an hour or two ago, it was up by 1% also. 137% on the month. It looks pretty good. So we're going to go to the 90 days here. Actually, I want to go to 12 month. So I am looking at, here's its all-time high at $54. I'm looking at that, and it is eclipsed that by quite a bit and went up to 64, and it's making its way back down a bit. And I'm looking at that like, we'll just see what happens with Solana. You know, it's a great investment. It's a good investment. If you're going to buy it and hold on to it for a year or even 6 months, you're probably going to get a return on investment on that. But as someone who's looking to do a little wheeling and dealing here and there and maybe hold for 30 days, that one, Solana, I think has been played out. Now let's look at some of these other ones. I was looking at Polkadot earlier. It was down 5%. It looks like it's returning. And this is what I would put my $100 into if I was taking monies, you know, a little bit once a week, a little bit out of each paycheck and throwing it into the market. I'm going to go for Polkadot. And here is why. Now, I'm not a big technical analysis, chart analysis guy, all right? I think a lot of the channels that do that as a primary basis for their cost valuation are kind of silly. However, there is some truth to resistance lines. You know, it's sort of a what do you call it? Self-fulfilling prophecy, which it is. With, you know, if you come out with a whole bunch of TNA stuff and say the market's going to do something, you can manipulate people into FOMOing into the market, kind of how it is. When I look at the charts of what things are worth to people and to how they're doing, I take a look at Polkadot up here, who's really running pretty darn strong around $40 for Polkadot. You can see all of the peaks going all the way back to the very beginning of the year. It had a big run up here, which I think it got listed on some exchanges and things. But right around that $40 mark, it's looking pretty good. So, and we look, you know, at where our current price point is at $25.30. Is that what we're at here? $23.32. So from what I garner just from a glance at the chart and where there's resistance and where it meets it, it doesn't start really running into anything until $40. So that to me says, oh, well, we're gonna double. We're gonna double the Polkadot. So that is where the money is going. What is Polkadot? Polkadot is an Ethereum competitor. And that's what they do. They're a chain that does a great many things, smart contracts and all of that, and people do use it. And it really hasn't made the move back like the other coins. It hasn't run as fast. It's got a pretty good run up going here, but it's not moving. It doesn't have any big, huge spikes. This is a very healthy growth comparatively to like Polkadot in the last 2 days is up like 60%. It's just a straight line up. Something like this in this growth, when the market started to turn around, looks a little better to me. So Polkadot, what is another one? If you don't like Polkadot, we don't like polka-dots. We don't like polka-dots on anything. What else do we got? Well, a good old staple is going to be Chainlink. I was looking at this in comparison with Polkadot as far as what we're looking at for resistance and where their upside is going. And it looks to me like Chainlink really has a ways to go before it even comes close to its all-time highs, and also with where we have our big dip here. And I'm looking at this at $32. Where is Chainlink now? $26. I'm going to say it's easily good for some upside there. And once it breaks through that, I don't really think that there's much even resistance there. And Chainlink It may not like 6, 700, 800% X, but a lot of people use Chainlink. A lot of they're for migrating off the blockchain data onto the blockchain and like Oracle network, and that's really what they do. They're the biggest players in the space, and they haven't really super took off yet. They had a bit of a bull run like a week ago, but that would be number 2 for the coins that are on sale. That maybe, not investment advice, might go up in the future. Might go up in the future. There are some other ones in there, like a lot of people like Matic, Polygon. I think that they already did a huge leap already. Where are we on well, actually no. 66% on a 30-day, so maybe the old Matic is not necessarily all that bad. Let's look at the year and where we're at. It looks like Polygon, as you kind of go where basic resistance levels are across here, we're looking at what is that, the overall price chart? $1.78. Yeah, $1.70-ish, somewhere around there. Looks like pretty good odds of hitting that one before the year's out. So some upside again. Or we can roll it into Shiba Inu. No, just kidding. Don't do that unless you want to do the gambler thing. Speaking of that, I think Shiba's down like 16%. Oh, it's only down 13%. We'll take a look at Shiba. Boy, if you could get back, what is this? All the way up there at an all-time high of 0.000029. All-time high. Someday, Shiba, someday. So we'll go back and we'll take a look at the portfolio here. We got the DCA, dollar cost averaging. This is where you take a little bit of money, and regardless of what the market is doing, you just have a set date where you buy something. Put it into Bitcoin, put it into Ethereum, put it in one of those, or you put it into an altcoin that people are talking about that might have some huge upside, aka Dogecoin. There's a lot more celebrities that are on the Dogecoin bandwagon now, so Dogecoin probably will hit, 75 cents or $1. Just probably. It's not worth anything, but it probably will. So we'll take a look at I started this a week ago with $1,000. We're up to $11.49. Slight gain. Nothing too huge. I added Polkadot. I added $100 of Polkadot. It's actually up a little bit to it today. So really not tremendous profits. Remember, I only started this a week ago, though. And then we have our gambler example, which is up around 10%. It's actually doing quite a bit better because Dogecoin had a huge run up. It's lost some since then, but it went up by like 26%. XRP had a huge run up where it went up like 30% also. But again, you see, when the market goes down and Bitcoin decides it's going to go down and Ethereum decide they're going to go down, it drags these down, and Bitcoin's down 3%. Dogecoin's going to be down 6 to 10. XRP is down 6. I removed some like Posh coin or something like that from this, as I'm going to make it more of a gambler thing. So these are tokens that in the past have made pretty good gains for people, and then they return to being trash. They make some good gains and return to being trash. So these are ones you'd hold on to for weeks, but certainly no more than maybe a month. Pirate Chain. I actually have a small bag of Pirate Chain because I got it cheap. Pirate Chain at one point was $13. It averaged around, and it did, I think, peak at around 16. Right now at $4.24 has not been doing a whole lot, but that is what I added for the dollar cost averaging on the gambling chart. Otherwise, the same ones. I got Dogecoin, XRP, Stellar, Atari, BitTorrent, Shiba Inu, and SafeMoon. Out of all of them, the worst coin on here is probably SafeMoon, and it's the only one that's in the green. Okay, to let you know how the aspect of the gambling coins go. Now, like I said, when the market goes down, we'll see who retains their value the most, because that's really the deal, unless you want to babysit your portfolio the whole time. Because if Bitcoin goes down, the entire market is going to go down. And where do you put your money? It's not like there's a green candle. You can take all of your assets and move them to the green candle. Chase the dragon. We're going to chase the dragon. The only thing you can really do is throw it into stable coins and preserve your wealth that way. But, I found the easiest thing and the least stressful way for, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, is just to leave them in there and just let them be. And then it saves yourself the costs of transferring your funds into another stable coin or whatever you want to do, or even cashing out. If you got your tax situations and all of that. On the gambler side, I think we just went through this. Yeah, Shiba, SafeMoon, BitTorrent, Atari. Atari doesn't do nothing, but it was pumping pretty good. A lot of these coins were up 20 to 30% over the last week. And, that's great. But now they're retracing and they're losing half of their gains already. They pumped up. And it's like if you catch the pump just perfectly and then you catch the peak roundabout perfectly, you can definitely make some internet money. But that seems like a lot of work as opposed to just leaving stuff in here. And like I said, you basically have a guaranteed return on Bitcoin, not investment advice, but guaranteed return. Now, and speaking with dollar cost averaging and investing in Bitcoin, now the market we're considered to be in a bull cycle now for probably the next several months, at least until the end of the year. It's not going to matter a great deal where you put your money. If you're in the top 100 coins, top 50 coins, everything is going to go up. The question is going to be how much, how fast, how much pump, how volatile these things are, but they all will probably go up. When the market goes up, everything goes up. But the concern out there is with the state of the economy and the stock market. We've kind of been looking for the stocks to go crash. I'm not involved in stocks very much other than understanding where the stocks are at, and everyone thinks they're kind of high, Seems like the stocks are being a little propped up by IMF, Federal Reserve, the gold price is being suppressed, and there's a little bit of, it seems like there's a little bit of funny business going on with this stuff. And we wonder if they cease to be held up, or if there's if there is an artificial bubble in the stock market, if that pops, will that affect crypto and drag crypto down with it? Or, as what I think is, the stock market will actually push people into Bitcoin. And I say only Bitcoin, because gold doesn't honestly perform very well, and it's hard to get your hands on a lot of it as to like real gold. And the stock market crashes, what are people going to do with their money? You have the option of, you can cash it out and lose 20% a year in interest, or not interest, deflation, inflation. We'll get it one of these tries. You can lose 15 to 20% in inflation, pay $20 for a can of soup, that kind of a thing. Or you can put it into an asset that has a 10-year track record of going up on average 200% a year. Amazon's looking at it. Walmart's looking at it. There's countries that are using it as currency, or a country that uses it as an official currency, and other countries that use it as a substitute, where if you don't want to pay in Nigerian dollars, you can pay in Bitcoin. It's stable enough that I believe that the money will roll into Bitcoin. Maybe not right away. I think initial shock and fear will have people pulling out of every market until they realize that, say the stock market loses 20, 30, 40%, Bitcoin loses 15%. And you give it about a week and people are like, well, Bitcoin is still holding. And then you have the money that will roll into it. And that's the big thing, right? But the one thing that is for certain, the Bitcoin price will continue to rise. Not investment advice, but you have the stock market crash and get wiped out, it doesn't really matter to Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin is not based on fraud. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. You cannot counterfeit it. It's worldwide. It's decentralized. It's fungible, and one Bitcoin is worth one Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if the Bitcoin miner came from China, came from Russia, came from Kazakhstan, came from Texas. It does not matter. It is worth the same value. Now, Federal Reserve funny money, we don't know. That value changes daily. The value changes daily, which is why the Bitcoin price changes so much, is because it's, dealing with funny money and a lot of fraud and a lot of nonsense that goes on the stock market. That's just the US, though. All these other countries have their own versions of the stock market. It's really just the US market. And it does seem like things are kind of overvalued, just like the housing market. Houses were overvalued. Now that's kind of popping a little bit, where the housing prices are starting to come down, and we'll see if the same thing happens to the stock market. And we'll see if crypto goes on sale again. I don't personally think it will. I think there's too much money in it. Without heavy manipulation like we had a month ago started in May, right? Heavy manipulation to keep the market down so those whales could accumulate. Well, do they still have money left to do that? To do it again? I don't know. I think that whole thing kind of broke because they ran out of money. My own personal opinion. Those people aren't going to be pulling out. So we have a market crash, stock market crash. I actually am kind of bullish on that. The market goes down, the dollar will lose a little bit more value. Companies won't be doing so hot, what will happen though is if companies do have to go into Bitcoin and crypto where you can't have any fraud. Businesses have to be legitimate if they're operating with Bitcoin and they're using Bitcoin as a store of value and they're using Bitcoin to do their various business things. They can't get free bailout money and fraud money. We'll just have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens with it. So again, once a week, we'll throw $100 into each of these portfolios once a week and see what happens with them. Even up, this is a down day, of course, so it's only up 6%, but I think it was only up to 12% maybe yesterday. Because I don't have a lot of really quick players in here. This is a beginning safe bet portfolio where someone who is just getting into the market maybe only has $1,000. They want to get some exposure and they want to get some Bitcoin. This is the type of portfolio you'd set for someone who is just starting up. You're not going to have 400% gains in a day on a portfolio like this. You also will not get wiped out. Okay, you will not get wiped out on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not going to zero. It's not going to happen. People don't sit and worry when they invest in something like Microsoft. If Microsoft the next day is going to go to zero. Okay, yeah, the markets will fluctuate. Sometimes, Bitcoin will go up 15% in a day, down 8% the next day. Fluctuation, but it ain't going to zero. And over the long term, the trend is upward. So this is the safe bet. I own most of these. I was looking at Polkadot, and my next personal dollar cost averaging will probably pick up some Polkadot. And then on the gambler side, so after you already have 75-80% of your investment money tied up in like good projects that you've done your research on, and you understand what all of these what you're invested in, like what these tokens do, right? Once you have that and you have some other money, then you can kind of play around in some speculative sort of investments. Okay. And, speculative investments, they can make crazy gains based on fear of missing out. Did you hear Elon talk about Dogecoin? Let's go buy Dogecoin, right? That's how it works. And yeah, here is the portfolio for that. Of course, in a bull market, it should always be better. Okay, it should always outperform a Bitcoin. If an altcoin does not outperform Bitcoin, it is not doing its job as an altcoin. Okay? There is no reason to take that high level of risk on a really low market cap coin. We'll say like Engine Coin. Okay? If Engine Coin, which I do like Engine Coin, I think I have Engine in here. Yeah, I do have Engine in here. This is an NFT play, is what Engine Coin is. Anyways, if Engine Coin did not perform better than Bitcoin, I have no reason to be invested in it, right? However, Engine Coin could go down by 50% because something happened to their whatever. You know, they get hacked or something. Bitcoin's not going to get hacked. The safer bet. Countries invested in Bitcoin. Largest hedge funds invested in Bitcoin. Amazon. Now it's Walmart looking for Bitcoin. So they're not looking for Engine Coin, guys. Engine Coin is a retailer play, an NFT play, and it needs to outperform Bitcoin. And then what do you do with the profits? It's also, you know, could fall more, or it could keep going up. You know, you don't know. High amount of speculation, high amount of risk in the altcoins, but there's a lot of gains. And the idea behind these gains, guys, is economic freedom, getting off the Federal Reserve system, okay, getting off that system so you don't have to participate anymore. That's the goal. That's the goal. So with that, guys, with that, I think we will be out of here. Next up, I think we're going to take a deep look at Ethereum as to why Ethereum is worth so much compared to other altcoins, and what exactly Ethereum is. Who is Vitaly Buttersworth, Vitaly Buterin, and maybe a little bit about that, because people say Bitcoin's an old technology and, you know, Ethereum is going to wipe it out and all this, and it's like Bitcoin is a bar of gold, more or less, and Ethereum is like Microsoft. They're two totally different things. And as far as Bitcoin being old technology, Ethereum is pretty old technology, and they're patching that thing every 6 months. I am not a huge fan of Ethereum, but I do own it. Okay, and Ethereum, out of all of the coins that I've owned, has probably made me the most. I had, granted, you know, next to Bitcoin, but the amount of Bitcoin that I have compared to Ethereum doesn't even match. You know, I got many times more Bitcoin. But Ethereum, getting in at $400 originally, and, you know, selling some and playing around and then back in, and now it was up to 4,000, I think, or 4,500. Yeah, it's certainly an investment you can make money off of, and you don't need to be married to things that you invest in. Okay, it's nice to know all about the company and all about the ins and outs and all about the inner workings, but there is no reason that you cannot sell something, with the exception of Bitcoin, guys. With the exception of that, and even if you decide that you do not ever want to touch Bitcoin, you should still have some Bitcoin. Because if you want to buy some of these weird coins out there, you have to go to a decentralized exchange where all they can do is token swap. Okay, so you need to have Bitcoin so you can pick up the trash coin that you want. Okay, you need to have Bitcoin. That's how I bought Pirate Chain. You have to use Bitcoin in order to buy these altcoins that are way down and past the top 100 on the list. You got to go to, you know, all of these decentralized places like KuCoin, yeah, I think that's one of them, to wheel and deal. And you either have to use Ethereum and pay a ridiculous transaction fee, or you got to use Bitcoin or swap it, go into Litecoin or something like that in order to purchase these off the decentralized exchanges. So even if you don't want to use Bitcoin, you don't like Bitcoin, you still have to have it. And that's all I have to say on that. With that, guys, do some dollar cost averaging while the sale is going on. Sale probably won't last long. You know, maybe it'll keep going down a little more. We'll just see. Yeah, and with that, we are going to be out of here.